we doing today, guys? I actually really like this slate because I find that a lot of people either get really stressed or they're confused about the Thanksgiving slate or they're excited about the Thanksgiving slate and they're more casual because they haven't played it, but they want to because it's different, it's exciting. There's three games. And then people forget about the quick turnaround. There's not as much projections, there's not as much computers in the background, figuring out ownership, figuring out, the different leverage points and things of that nature. So it really tests you in a way that normally we don't get tested as DFS players this week. So it's almost like a coach on a short week when it comes to like playing on a Thursday night and then playing on a Monday night or something like that. There's the prime time kind of excitement, but then you got to quickly turn it around and be ready to work with your guys, in short order. And that's what I'm doing tonight with my guys. We're going to be working in short order this week, but I think the three of us know enough football and we're excited to play DFS every week that I think actually this might be the most profitable week we have. I'm going to call our shot here. I think this is the week we make the most money all year this week. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to set the bar kind of high this week. Evan, Donnie, Gov, how we doing?
Not bad.
Oh, still so full from Thanksgiving.
What's your favorite food, by the way? We didn't have a little bit of fun. We didn't kick it a little bit for the people. What were you looking forward to? I know Johnny's in the cranberry.
Just turkey. Turkey.
I had a lot of turkey as well, for some reason. I love turkey.
Turkey's so good.
Look,
I had a lot of cranberry sauce.
Here's my take on turkey. As a health guy, I like it. It's a lean meat. It's sold in bulk, so you can get a lot of it. Like it's a high quality, lean protein. Love it. I'm very ketogenic. Keep my carbs low. Eat a lot of protein, so it's great. And you get to eat a lot of it, guilt free, basically calorie wise. Let's be honest though, it's not the tastiest thing. And don't give me the whole, my grandma cooks it this way, and if you had it this way, it wouldn't be dry. It's not the best piece of meat out there. It's one of the healthiest. You can get it very conveniently at your stores. It's very easy to get this time of the year. It tastes fine. It's okay. It's not bad. But there are so much better meats out there in the world. So as long as you have a measured take to turkey, I'm fine with it. But don't sell it to me that it's better than most meats. It's not.
Ours this year was probably the best we've ever had. Like, it was extraordinarily good.
Which is good. But just don't sell it to me like it's the best meat you've ever had.
But that leads to a new question now, Logan. What is the best piece of meat?
Steak.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't really go wrong with ground beef. Like hamburger's great. Prime rib is up there. But obviously you have to think
It's
about
here and 90% eats fish and says nothing.
Hey, fish is great, man. Trust me, I get my fishing license every
Fish
year.
and bird. I don't like things that walk on the land. It must fly through the air or swim through the sea.
Fair enough. But look, I fish every Saturday. Like I fish and then football during the season. So I love fish too. I'm just saying turkey is good, but let's not overrate it because it's a holiday food.
I also shouldn't say that. Venison, deer is really good too. So
yeah. Basically, I'll never turn down meat. Like, don't get me wrong, but there's just so much other good meats.
we're all carnivores on this show. Let's just throw it out there.
That's right.
Deal with it, viewers.
Take that, vegans.
Yeah! Yeah! Poking
There goes.
literal poking of a bear. Oh!
There goes our vegan viewership.
Hey, if you want to follow us, talking about sponsorship and promotions, if you want to follow us, we do have a Twitter out there. I did anger PETA this week with some of. So if you want that take, that's behind the paywall. That's behind Oz. If you want to follow the podcast, you can find that take.
And speaking of poking the bear, Evan, I think you had something to say.
Yeah.
Yes, I did, and this is pertaining to the New York Jets, because I know that future weeks are going to be rough Logan, did you have anything else before I continue?
No, that's a perfect transition. Go right ahead.
Yes. So it was announced after that embarrassing 34-13 loss against the Dolphins that Tim Boyle is going to be starting at quarterback again for the New York Jets. Now, what this means among the majority of the fantasy community is everybody's selling on the New York Jets. Whether you're in a vanilla redraft league or you're playing DFS, that's likely what's going to happen with a lot of the Jets' talent. And by talent, I really mean the passing options and the rushing options. Just because if you actually looked at the box score of that last game, Breece Hall ran the ball how many times? 7 times, which is an absurdly low number for this particular team, and it's going to scare away a lot of people. So I'm expecting phenomenal prices this week for all of these offensive players. But first things first, I at least wanted to point out to I forgot where I was going to go with that one too, but my main point being is that I was going to go with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson to still be consistent options when it comes to the passing game and the rushing game for that matter. I don't think Breece Hall is going to see a low of 7 touches again later this season, but Garrett Wilson still went 7 for 10 even with Tim Boyle throwing the football, despite being one of the worst offenses in football.
Yes, the Jets suck. I have no disagreement in that rant at all.
Yep. Well,
like they really suck.
Yeah. To celebrate the anniversary of the butt fumble, they came up with the Hail Mary on Black Friday.
Yes, they did.
I love the Jets. Misery.
One of the worst.
Jets misery makes my Patriots fandom so much easier.
But okay, but you see how Evan kind of stumbled there for a minute, but none of us like hurried up to rescue him. We all knew he'd have it. He'd have it under control. Yeah, sure. We're not always going to speak well. That's the point of this podcast is like we're just a bunch of guys coming together for a common goal. That's the problem I have with the Jets. To your point, Evan, everything they do, they're trying to be too perfect this year, man. They're like, we got this great defense. It's great. We're phenomenal. No one can score on us. It's like, yeah, but you know what would be good if you learn how to tackle, so then you didn't give up Hail Mary, 6 on the other end.
I'd like to at least point out something about the Jets defense that isn't talked enough about. The Jets defense only is good at defending the pass. They are not good at defending the rush. They are second to last with average rushing yards allowed per game. They've allowed an average of 140 yards per game. They are not good.
No, they always play from behind. So it's misconstrued a bit.
A bit, but they actually have not been
good.
No,
they're not going to be a good run defense, but
they are better at defending the pass, which forces teams to say, I might as well game plan running. It is easier. Then you combine that with them being down in most games where teams want to run and have a run script. They end up giving up a lot of rushing yards because they get run on a lot and they're not well equipped to stop it.
Yep.
Right.
So
but if they could win football games offensively, it would not be that bad.
So that's the only thing the only 3 things that are good about this Jets team this year: Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and the secondary for the Jets. That's all they've got going for them. That's Robert Saleh's team.
And that's my problem with Saleh is because he was. I personally believe this. Whether you guys do or not, you don't have to follow my opinion. This is only mine. But that was my point with the thing. It's like he was so afraid to make a mistake or, hey, if I can just hold this together till Aaron Rodgers comes back, then he can be the savior. Or they were so convinced of this, right, that they just wouldn't adjust to things that would be obvious and easier. Like, I truly think if they would have given up on Zach Wilson, then they would be in the playoffs right now. If they would have went to Tim Boyle or if they would have traded for a Dobbs-like guy, it doesn't even got to be Dobbs.
If they traded for Dobbs, they would have been fine.
Right, but do something. Like, that's the thing is Evans fumbled that conversation a little bit, and that's fine because that's the kind of podcast we want. We want an organic, a real kind of show where we're walking through, we're talking as football people. We're not trying to be scripted, and that's what I felt like the Jets were trying to do. They were trying to script this great outcome until Aaron Rodgers could return. Let's just script it. Let's just get by, and then when Aaron Rodgers gets back, we'll be a playoff team. Instead of just adjusting week to week to what needed to change, there were obvious changes, and they waited way too long in the season till guys like Garrett Wilson gave up on the season. Guys like Breece Hall lost their confidence, and then you end up not making the right decisions. We see this a lot in lineup builds and DraftKings. Is who knows how many players quit playing DraftKings in week 3 or week 2 because they bet too much in week 1 and they didn't manage their bankrolls well enough, or they didn't take enough calculated risk. They could be great players, but if you don't pace yourself, you're not going to have the best results. And that's what I felt like the Jets did. That they're talented, but they didn't work together. They didn't have any unity, and it showed through.
Yeah.
Well, no, and it's also worth pointing out, too, that the New York Jets are 8th right now in the most penalties committed at 71 total. This is not a disciplined team. This is a very undisciplined team.
Yeah, and let's not even, what's sad about the Jets, let's be honest, is they're not even the worst offense in New York. And we have to rant about them.
Yeah,
the Jets at least average I think it's 14, high 14 something, 14 point something. The Giants only average 13.5.
Yeah, the Jets
all
are
based on quarterback play for the Jets.
The Jets are third to last right now in points scored per game at 14.8.
Only behind the Patriots and the Giants.
Exactly.
That goes to show how bad this offense is.
Second to last in passing yards per game at 166.8, and fifth to last in rushing yards per game. And then Robert Saleh has the nerve to go to the press and say that Breece Hall tries to hit home runs too much, which is not a terrible point to make, but your rushing game sucks in general. How do you have how do you get to nitpick the rushing game when you're not even good at it?
Right. He has to hit a home run, because if he doesn't, you're not going to score. Sorry.
To that point, Donnie, and I want to ask Evan, because I think it's a good point, and it's a point that we can all learn from this week even. If I gave you $100, right, and that was your DK bankroll, $100, but you lost most of that money, right? As that money goes down, let's say you only have $10 this week, but you started with 100, Evan, and now you have 10. With that reduction, you're going to play more conservative each week that you keep losing. Or you're going to press, or you're going to get angry, you're going to get frustrated. So, of course, Breece Hall is trying to hit home run because his coach, his teammates, all the people around him, his environment has started to deteriorate. It's not the same. It's not good vibes. Different things happen. So, of course, that's just human nature.
But that's like the Steelers back in the day criticizing Le'Veon Bell. There's just some backs that are home run hitters, and you have to accept it.
Jay Ajayi was another one on the Dolphins, ironically.
Yeah, but Jay Ajayi didn't last that long. He was 2 years of being good. There are just some backs, though, that are, that's their style. And if you didn't want that style of back, why did you draft him?
This is exactly the DeAndre Swift argument for me. With the Lions versus what he is with the Eagles, it's he's the same player. It's just one team is actually using him the way that they knew he was designed to use. Not even using him correctly or incorrectly. It's putting him in a position that makes sense. Right now, the reason that Breece Hall isn't in the position is partly due to him. Let's be honest. But it's also partly due to a lot of different factors. And when you're the head coach and you can't hold that together, you got a problem. And the worst thing you can do as a head coach is to sell that talent down the road, because that speaks to the whole locker room then. So even if everyone agrees with you on Breece Hall, if you talk bad about that player, all the other players are like, oh, well, if he's willing to do it with this player, he's going to talk bad about me too. And so that's why it's bad taste.
My thing is, if you want a conservative back that's just going to not try and hit home runs. Put Dalvin Cook on the field and see how he does with this offense. Because it's not going to be good.
As he's shown.
Style running back you want? Yeah, that's the style running back you want, Salah. Like, really?
Gov, you've been quiet. Does this speak to you in a football sense and like a DF? Is there anything we can glean from this, like encouragement you would give Jets fans? Like any DFS takes? Do you play less, guys, in the coming weeks? Like, what do you do with this? Because I think we hit on a lot of good stuff.
The Jets suck. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
They were not a quarterback away going to get Rodgers. They still needed like everything else to go right on offense with their weapons.
Well,
That being said, there was talent. Like there is talent on this team. It has potential to do things. But like we said, like the defensive line is not what it used to be. It is probably their weakness. The offensive line is not good. That is why the quarterbacks can't do anything. So I do think Garrett Wilson is talented. Their game plan is still to get them the ball and to run it with Brees. So fantasy-wise, they'll still be relevant the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have ceiling games in them? No, I don't think so. Like, Brees has it because he has the big play potential. If he busts off a game with a 70-yard touchdown, then he can totally have like a 25, 30-point game.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, like, Garrett Wilson, I guess, could break off like a 60-yard touchdown, but I don't see that as much.
Well, it was less likely with Wilson.
But more than likely, they will also start to be priced down over the next few weeks. And they will become more playable because they will still at least be getting consistent volume on a bad team.
Right.
Glad you agree with me on that, Gov.
Yep.
And honestly, that's why I think the fantasy player or the gambler or the person that really enjoys football from a different angle than like your casual football fan or just like your traditional, jersey wearing fan on Sunday, we should be more appreciated by the NFL because we're willing to look at these edges. We're willing to study the spreads to find the small edges, and we watch and support all these games. We'll watch the Jets on a primetime game because we gambled on it. Now, you could argue that gambling is good, bad, or indifferent, but like we are a good portion of their viewership. And so, like, we're allowed to have these takes. I know Evan recently had a take on Arthur Smith, and that's why, like, he can have his opinion about fantasy football all he wants, but we do help the ecosystem. I just want to make that point. Don, you were about to say something?
Yeah. Well, for example, like that Lions game, most fans turned it off this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Logan probably a little bit. We were sitting there, we were messaging in our Discord server, sweating the game to the very end, knowing that it was probably over, but just trying to watch some fantasy points, see how things moved.
Well, let's be honest. That's the fun part about DFS. That if it's done well, that's exactly why DFS and fantasy have a place in the marketplace. And even if you're a Bill Belichick or an Arthur Smith who doesn't like it, I feel like you should respect it. Honestly, that's my take. You don't gotta like it, but you should respect it.
Well, for that matter, the Niners this past weekend, but the Seahawks. But I think we can move. Is everyone done with this topic? We can move on to getting our picks out of the way.
I do.
Oh yeah, we can make our picks if we're ready.
Yeah, I think we're set.
Let's start off with the group pick. We decided before the show, relatively quick, as soon as Gov brought it up. We had the... Who wants to break it? Well, it's not on my mind, the exact number.
It's the Ravens -3.
-3,
Yep.
I took it. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, the Chargers are just bad this year. I don't like Baltimore at all. I have a bias. I hate Lamar Jackson, but they should win this game. No problem.
I agree.
They should win this game, but this is also I think a prove-it game for them, too, because call me crazy, but I do think they want to convince guys like Gov that they're good. Now, whether they actually can by beating the Chargers, Gov, that's up to you and your viewing pleasure. but I do think that this is a different Ravens team, and they want to leave a different impression going into the playoffs. So they've had some unfortunate injuries, different positions, changeovers. Do they have a legit wide receiver? Can you trust Odell, or is he really just an injured veteran? Like, they got a lot of questions. I feel like they still want to make a statement on. So I could definitely see some points in this game still. This is a game where they can make a statement because whether you like it or not, the Chargers still garner a lot of attention. So this is still kind of a primetime feel to this game. This could be a statement game for the Ravens.
The Ravens are 4-1 on the road, and oddly enough, they're 4-2 at home. This is a very good football team that can win on the road. And non-conference games, they're 3-0. So non-conference
Well
teams,
coached.
yeah, very well coached. They're I don't see them losing to this Chargers team either.
Yeah, and while we're on that topic, Chargers don't carry a good fan base usually at home. It probably will be more of a home game than anything for the Ravens.
Yeah, you don't picture a lot of Baltimore natives being in Los Angeles, but I mean,
I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked if the Ravens flocked over there.
No, he is right. For some reason, well, I know the reason. I know the reason the Chargers do not get support in Los Angeles. It's because the San Diego market felt disrespected by them. That's a close enough market that it's going to influence. And let's be honest, Los Angeles is a front-running city. They're used to being spoiled. So if you're not a top-tier premium option, there's so much to do in Los Angeles. You're going to get passed over.
There was one year where they were winning very well. They looked like a very good team, and they still didn't bring a crowd.
Well,
I just-
exactly.
I just don't think they'll really ever get much of a crowd, or at least not for a long time.
And then
LA.
what base they did have, they disrespected in San Diego, Donnie. And let's be honest, if you're a fan of another team and you can travel to any stadium, Los Angeles does sound like a good place to vacation. So if you are a traveling, kind of guy, you got like 1 or 2 games to target as a destination, Los Angeles does make sense. It's sunny. It's a great place for a guy from Chicago like me and Evan from the Midwest to go to get into the sun, So it does become a kind of destination spot.
Plenty of transplants in LA too, no shortage.
It's my pick, right?
Yep, you got
It
the
is
first one.
yours,
So
me, Evan Gunn.
yeah, there's a lot of games I like. So I'm just trying to. I want both of my games. So really, all I'm doing is trying to figure out which ones you guys want more. So then both of mine are available. But I got to take the one I think is the most obvious, which is the Rams. I forget what the spread is. That's why I'm looking for it now. It's 2.5. Yeah, I'm taking the Rams. One, because they need it. They saw the Packers win. They have to keep up with that division race. They don't know what's going to happen to the Vikings, but they're all really close. So Seattle lost. So Seattle's now in that bucket. So you have the Rams.
Your division's up.
Say what, Don?
But the Niners are so ahead.
No, not for the division. I'm saying for the wild card, for the last wild card.
Yeah, that's
It's-
better.
It's wide open between the Vikings, the Packers, the Rams, and the Seahawks, from what I know. So you got all those teams trying to win. The Rams, I feel like, are getting healthier at the right time. They got Kyron Williams back. Cooper Kupp's looking to play. Stafford, although he's still probably banged up because, unfortunately, the guy can just never fully get healthy. But he's going to grit it out. They got to win. This Cardinals team does have Kyler Murray and got some talent, but they're still not a good team, though. I think the Rams win this game easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Cardinal team is horrible, and this Rams team is not good either, but they're still better.
I
Yeah.
just worry how they're going to defend Kyler. I don't know if they can defend Kyler.
I don't think they need to worry about it.
I don't think they do either, because Kyler Murray doesn't have a lot of options to throw it to either.
You're right. Maybe you're right. I'm just worried about his legs. If he can escape, he can definitely break down that defense.
I think Kyler will at least. I mean, I hope he gets at least one touchdown, but I think it would not be surprising if he gets one on the ground.
Right.
we got some really cheap options in this game from a DFS lineup perspective too, because they're without Michael Wilson and most likely without Marquise Brown, which leaves some really cheap options. I mean, so you were right; they really are bottom of the barrel in terms of their receiving options.
Yeah.
Greg Dortch, baby.
It
Oh,
is Greg Dortch
fucking
season.
God, no. Yes, no.
It is, man.
Hey, last year, man. Last year, Greg Dortch was that guy.
I actually have a
I know last year Greg Dortch was that guy. Trust me. Ask Logan. I know he was that guy last year. I was one of the dudes telling everyone, motherfucker, he's that
Yes.
No. Let's be honest, Gov. I'll back you up here. You tucked that motherfucker to the bank too, and said, "Watch my money."
I wish I had
He did.
I
He
had had
did
the
do
full balls to lock him 100%, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I wish I had had the full balls.
Evan didn't know you back then, but Evan did know he won a decent amount of money on a showdown.
I had a
fight.
very good showdown that week. Yes, that was one of my better showdowns
Yeah.
Nice.
that week.
Yeah, Greg Dortch was that guy. And
I
then
just
for the-
I had him in seven. What was it? Seven. It was I did my 20 max. I think I had him in 14 of the lineups as the cheap guy.
Yeah.
I think I didn't play him at captain, and I did play him in the other 6 lineups. But all 14 of those lineups cash. So it's okay, cool. Everything's doubling up or more. And I had lineups that had shots.
Which week was this?
It was week what? Arizona last.
It was midweek.
I want to say 15 or 16. It was
Yeah,
one of
they
the
played
last
the Eagles
weeks.
late, I think.
Oh yeah, he
Eagles
killed
played-
Tampa Bay last year.
It might have
That
been. Yeah, it was
must be it, then.
it might have been that because
I
it was a
was
week.
Tampa because
Rondale was out. Everyone was in, but everyone knew the coach was going to go away. It's well, he's not going to do anything special. He's just going to do what he did in the preseason. When Moore's not out there, Dortch does all his shit. Watch him get 9 low A dot targets and see what he does. And the first play from scrimmage, he got a screen pass. He ran for 70 yards.
Ironically, better than Rondale too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this game environment, obviously being one of my split picks. So that's the reason I'm taking the Rams is because although we can love the volume that Greg Dortch is going to get, when Greg Dortch is your main target, you probably have a problem with it in Arizona.
Let's move on to the next game.
Yep.
though.
Who's got the next game?
I do. And it's going to stay another division game. Very important for the standings. I think the Jags are smelling blood in the water with Houston. The Texans already got them once. I don't think they want it to happen twice. That's a huge game for Jacksonville to win. I don't want to say it locks up the division, but it will be very tough for Houston to come back from this loss. So, I think the Jags are going to cover this 1.5. It's basically a pick 'em. Probably due to the fact of that Week 1 game.
I'm with you, Donnie. I want to watch this game because I think this will be a really fun game. I think there's a lot of pieces in this game that are interchangeable. Between ETN doesn't get a full run, it seems like they've been using Johnson a lot. They use a lot of wide receivers. We don't ever know if Evan Ingram is a wide receiver or a tight end. There's a lot of interesting weapons interchangeably. The Texans have had injuries, so their weapons have been interchangeable. I can't decide really on any DFS plays in this game. So from a DFS perspective, I'm off of this game, but this could be a fun, low-scoring game to watch, I think.
Yeah, I think it will be low scoring as well. But, man, if the Jaguars do lose this and then that gives Houston the division lead with a sweep, that's massive as well.
Yeah.
This game is so important early in the year.
Right. I think it's a fun game to watch. I just don't think there's a lot of scoring, and I think the scoring will be so spread out that this is a popular game too. I know Gov likes his projections. I think a lot of people are on this game. This is one of the games I'm kind of fading just because I think the ownership will be way too high on.
Yeah. Now,
any other thoughts?
so it's interesting to look at the Jaguars and Texans on paper because points put forward, points allowed. Last 5 games, both teams are 4-1. They look about equal on paper if you don't ignore the fact that the Jags are 7-3 and the Texans are 6-4. But what's interesting to note is that the Jaguars are undefeated on the road this year. They're a 4-0 team on the road. They're worse at home. They're 3-3 at home. So this seems to be an advantage for the Jaguars playing in Houston. We'll see if that turns out.
Yeah. I just think it's important. It's very hard to sweep a division. Very hard. And I don't know if the Texans are ready for that yet.
I only got to make one more quick point on this. I get so annoyed that so quickly, like we watch a portion of a season and we see good results, in a small sample size, and then we want to anoint these quarterbacks as like, oh, well, if CJ's looked good for X amount of weeks, he's got to be better than Trevor Lawrence, or Trevor Lawrence has had one bad spell, so he's got to be worse than like this whole week. If you've been on Twitter at all, it's who would you rather have, CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence? And to me, it's like, well, why can't I just like both of them? I have Red Zone. I have the NFL package. Guess what? I'm going to turn on the game tomorrow. And I'm going to like both quarterbacks. I'm going to watch both quarterbacks, and I expect both of them to be good. I'm so sick of this. Like, who would you rather have? You must decide who's better right now today. Like, I'm so sick of that narrative.
Well, C.J. Stroud hasn't even completed a full season yet, and Trevor Lawrence has been playing on a lot of ass Jaguar teams that just haven't been very good. His offensive line sucks too.
Right.
I mean, we've mentioned many times on this show that he's horrible under pressure. So really, it's a matter of which offensive system do you want more.
And that's my point. And you can have an opinion on it. I just hate this idea that we must rank them. Like, you
Side
must
note.
have an opinion. Like, that's so silly.
Damian Pierce is playing tomorrow.
Is he?
Yep, that's how it's looking at him.
That's a good note.
Okay, because I didn't see that. I just saw that his ankle was listed to him as questionable for Sunday.
Yeah, it's looking like he's playing. Same thing with Rashad White for Tampa Bay.
Gov, any thoughts on this game before we move on?
I really do like Stroud tomorrow, honestly. Like, I think Stroud's legit. We should have picked him. I can't believe we didn't pick him. Ah! Okay. I think
We did pick him in best ball though,
Yes,
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
and we have him paired with Tank Dell and CJ Stroud. By the way. So
Best ball team's doing very well if you guys watch the draft.
it is.
It's a,
I
it's a
don't know if we
solid
can
team,
get
I'm
it.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know if we can convince Gov to do a review show, but me and Donnie have talked about maybe doing a review show here in a couple of weeks.
Playoffs start week 15. And week after, on our week 14 review show, we'll look at the team to see if we have a shot going into the playoffs.
See, I was trying to warn the people. See, Gov is the type of parent, man. He loves the best ball, but he's the soccer
Once
mom that
we
wants-
get to the season, we're daily fantasy. All my lotto tickets are locked.
Exactly. Evan, you know who
And I'm not getting many teams through, so I'm not very happy.
well,
Babe,
you
you
might,
No.
I had Jamar Chase on my pick.
hey man, you might be pretty happy when I get your Venmo in a couple weeks and you see how good these teams can do. They're looking pretty good. But Evan, Gov does remind me of that soccer mom that buys like all the good snacks, and all the kids are looking forward to these snacks. And he's got all the good stuff in the back car, but he's like, "We're not opening the snacks until we get to the field. You guys are gonna play the game, and then you get a snack. Not before. Not a second.
We'll have orange slices at the game.
Exactly." So I appreciate your approach. Gov's right. We will review the team, but you just got to be patient for a few more
Yes.
weeks.
So, going into week 14, we will review the team. That is the last week before playoffs. So, if our team is close or if it's in first, we'll be able to see what do we need going into the first playoff before we get to the playoff cut on week 15. Do we have with me, that's where I'll be looking at all my teams. Which one of my teams are in the top 3 or within 20 points of something where it's realistic I could beat another team by 20 points in a week.
Fair enough.
All right.
I'm just telling you.
Let's
I'm,
move on to Evan's pick, though.
Yep.
Yes. So
I actually completely forgot. You took Houston, right?
I took Jags.
Oh, you took the Jags. I completely forgot. Wait, who did you take again? I forgot to write it down so I can keep track. I'm like, oh god.
He's got the Jags over Houston.
Yes, the team formerly known as Saxonville, or at least their defense was.
Wow.
So, my pick. I am going to take the Eagles at -3 over the Buffalo Bills. So, I don't know if y'all have noticed, especially those of you listening, this Bills team is looking mighty troublesome. 6-5. Not too good for a championship caliber team going into the preseason. They're playing in Philadelphia too. The Buffalo Bills are 1-3 on the road. They're 3-5 against the conference, 2-2 against their division. Eagles have not lost to anybody in their division yet, and I don't think that's going to change either. The Eagles are probably going to win in their usual fashion of winning ugly over the Bills, who are definitely going to give it their best effort, but the better coach in the end, Nick Sirianni, is better than Sean McDermott, and I think the -3 is safe enough.
I'll just say I'm glad you mentioned coaching when it comes to close spreads. I do think it matters. I don't got much else on this game other than it should be fun. This is a game that's going to score a lot of points. I obviously think so with the 48.5. I think it'll be a lot of points. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Donnie, Gov, any thoughts here?
I kind of agree with you.
I'd wait. I'll wait.
I kind of agree with Evan.
I'll wait.
Like, I really do.
Go get to your next pick. Or your first pick.
Great! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! So, since we all know I'm in the lead still, I will give you the actual good picks on the show.
Okay, buddy.
Oh, burned, everyone, burned.
Actually, the two good picks. Let's be honest. You get Snake.
That's
It
true.
was a good
That's
call.
true.
I'm glad
I do
we're
get
having
the
fun.
Snake. Oh god, I get to pick last and Snake. Fuck me. Okay.
Talk about having fun.
Well, okay, you want to have fun?
I do. It's preferable.
Houston +2.
Oh, they're going head to head, Evan.
Uh-huh. We'll just pull this one out right out the bat. Like, I'm looking at my stuff. I really like Houston. I think they're covering at home. Like, you want to give me a home dog, and you want it to be C.J. Stroud?
Ooh.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Because I got Jags 1.5. Is it at Houston +2?
Was it 1.5 or 2? I have.
I have no 1.5.
I will take the opposite side. Give me the plus on
Plus
Houston.
1.5. Okay. I just want to say, Gov, you didn't learn your lesson from last week with your Chiefs pick?
Nah.
You're really gonna go up against me again.
Okay, meanwhile, you guys are trying to shoot 1990 WWE.
I'm definitely going to do that.
So, Gov, do you see Houston winning the game, or are they going to lose by 1 to Jacksonville? Which is it?
I think they don't even. I think if it were -2 or -1.5 to Houston, I'd take that. Like, I think Jacksonville is a little bit overrated.
Same.
For all of the reasons. Like, they are not as good of a team as they actually are. They have great talent, great weapons. The offensive line isn't great. So, like, if they're not producing, which they might not be able to do on the road, they are, I will give Logan, they are showing great life on the road. They are 3-3 at home. I do believe 2 of those home games are actually in London. So are they really 3-3 at home?
Well, one's away, one of the London games was away, one of the London games was home.
So that means the one London game that was counted as their away game was the one they lost. Or the one they won, and the one that was counted as their home game was probably one of the ones they lost.
Correct.
Otherwise, what you're saying is like they're basically 2-4 at home right now.
No, Mac Jones outperformed Bailey Zappi in practice. Mac Jones starting.
Yay, Patriots!
That's the most useless piece of information I've heard since my balls itch. Shut up, brother.
He pulled out the brother like this is a 1990s WWE wrestling promo.
All right, bucko.
All right. Before we start scratching nuts here, let's just get my second pick here. All right.
Speaking of it.
Yeah. Let's transition. Let's see. After that head-to-head battle, because I have to get back at you, Donnie. You barely beat me in the cage match. I swear to God.
I told you, Evan, they're trying to shoot this 1990 WWE promo, man.
Oh, me and Gov have been at it for a couple weeks now.
Burn. Everyone burned. Okay. So, stalling, filibuster. Something just happened. Ooh.
Did somebody move?
That could actually be good or bad. It is currently updating bet numbers and money numbers on games, and one of those games is the Jacksonville Houston game.
Oh.
Ooh.
Can I change it?
Too late.
Right now we're locked in.
I don't know if it's going to go against me or against you. I don't know yet. It hasn't updated. So, okay, second
I'll
pick.
probably move to 2.
Second
Go ahead.
pick. I think I'll just take Indy to cover against Tampa Bay.
That's
Nice.
2.5.
Yeah,
I know 2.5. Yeah.
Yep. I think they win by a field goal. It's Tampa. I don't think it's a close game. Whoever wins, if Tampa ends up winning, Indy's gonna shit the bed, and Tampa will win by more than a field goal. And then same thing. If Indy wins this game, like as much of a shootout it could be, which I'm not sure if it actually will be, but like as much as it could be, like Indy will probably still win by 4. So like, give me it's minus what 2.5? Yep, minus 2.5 for the Colts.
Does anyone want to pick the Titans? Finish the whole sweep of that division.
Yeah, fuck the AFC South. Let's do it. Just kill my Panthers. Yeah, you know who's winning that game. Yeah.
All right, Evan, your pick.
Okie dokie. We already did this one. I'm thinking about a couple of these. I will be honest, I'm not a fan of like half of this slate this week just because a lot of these matchups are between all these ass teams that I do not like. Gotta pick something, Evan. Gotta pick something.
I filibustered for so long. How the hell do you not have time? What, I take your indie pick?
No, it's just that I get cold feet sometimes with ones that I have in mind, but I'm just going to go for it anyway. I'm going to go with the Chiefs at -9 over the Raiders. Now, the Raiders are playing at home, which they are better at being compared to a lot of teams that are 5-6. It's kind of incredible. Raiders are the only team below 500 that are 4-1 at home. I don't know how the hell they're doing it, but they're making things happen, and they're at an advantage over the Chiefs. But being that this is a championship caliber Chiefs team that is, don't be fooled by the 7-3 record. The defense for the Raiders still sucks, and the Chiefs have a much better defense than a lot of people are giving them credit for. I don't know if Nick Bolton is playing, but I don't care either way. I'll take the Chiefs at -9.
God damn it, I'm so stuck between these two teams. I know I shouldn't do it. I know I shouldn't, but the stats tell me, and desperation tells me that this needs to go this way. I think the Bills not only cover but win.
How so? Let's hear it.
That Eagles pass defense is not good.
You can attack them with wide receivers, yes. Very much.
One thing that the Bills do well is pass. They are desperate. This is a must-win game in their eyes to try and get back in this division race. They do not want to be a wild card team and do not want to have to travel on their road to the Super Bowl every week. I think this is the game where the Eagles just kind of once again look flat and can't come back from it.
It's interesting that you bring up the bottom half, not even bottom half. I think they're bottom 10 in passing yards given up per game because their secondary is weak this year. They do give up a lot of passing yards, but despite that, they're still in the upper half of the NFL in points allowed.
Yes, but this is a home run offense. And if you're passing as a home run offense, that's a bad recipe, I think, against this Eagles team.
You mean Bills team?
Yeah, but yeah,
This,
I don't know if the Eagles can stop this Bills team at all.
yeah, I kind of agree with Donnie on this one. I got one take on this game, and it's this. So I do not think that Josh Allen will ever be an efficient quarterback. I think it's a mistake to try to make him an efficient quarterback. I think it's a lot like everyone was saying with Robert Sala in the beginning of his rant when he was talking about Breece Hall and the coach getting mad about Breece Hall looking for explosive plays. They kind of did the same thing with Josh Allen this year, and I think that's the problem. Instead of embracing the science project and all of the good potential stuff that could happen with him being a risk it for the biscuit type of guy, instead of just sitting down and enjoying the biscuit, putting the honey on it, slathering the butter, and just like living with the consequences, they tried to make him into this like more efficient game manager when really they should have let the outlaw shoot the pistol because that's what he does. And if they're going to win this game and they're going to be a threat, they have to take off the reins. They can't be worried about injuries. They can't be worried about like who is Diggs happy this week? Is he going to be happy in 2 weeks? They got to just like let it fly, have some fun. That's why this is a good DFS game to target because you're going to get fun, desperate teams. And fun, desperate teams put up fantasy points. That's all I got.
Yeah. I love the desperation of the Bills here. That's why I'm going with it. I'll let Logan get to his other pick, and then I'll spoil what my other game was and the stuff on it.
I will say desperate on the Eagles side too because they have a chance now with the 49ers coming down to a race, the Lions losing. They kind of need this game to lock up the number one seed in the NFC. So
Also, the Cowboys close to their division. Like they could be a wild card team as well if they're not careful.
Right. There's a lot to play for the Eagles here because that division is so tough, like you mentioned, Donnie. No one else has got anything to say about this game before I move on to my next pick?
Nope.
Okay, so it's funny because I am an NFC North guy, but I try to be as unbiased as possible. People assume that I'm going to take the Lions every week. So I'm a Lions fan. I try not to do that. I try to enjoy football for all of its glory. There's just one team, and we can go back to the review show and watch it. I thought it was going to be the worst team in the league this year. They still haven't been great. They've been injured. Almost everything's went wrong with them. I do not like the Vikings. I would bet against the Vikings whenever I think there's a good chance they lose. And guess what? This week, I think they're playing Justin Fields and the Bears, who are better in it from a talent perspective than the Vikings. And you're going to give me plus points to do it. I believe it's +4. Give me the Bears there. I think the Bears will have a better record at this point, especially over the Vikings. If Justin Fields was healthy, he's now healthy. He's a difference maker. Yeah, give me the Bears.
It's 3, by the way, Logan.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I put it as 3.
It's 3? It is 3, yes.
Okay.
It feels weird because I don't hate anything you said, Logan, because yes, the Chicago Bears do have a ton of talent that are being horribly misused by this coaching staff, which I'll spare I'll spare everybody on this particular episode. That'll be for a later time. But the Bears on the road are 1-5. They're also not good at home at 2-3, which to be fair, and neither are the Vikings at home at 2-3, but the Vikings are better coached, and they have a better flowing offense and a better defense, ironically, than the Bears do. Which I know we were shitting on the Vikings defense for the first 3 weeks of the season because they did look like ass to start off the season. But the defense has finally picked up for the Vikings, and I don't think it's going to be enough to stop every single drive that the Bears have, but I don't think the Bears defense is also stopping the Vikings offense. So I think this could be a shootout, but I think the Vikings are going to be on top. I don't see my Bears winning this.
See, I told you this is the ironic part, is because I would agree with you, but most of those stats are because Justin Fields was out. I think Justin Fields, had he stayed healthy, makes that big of a difference. I really
I
do.
don't care about Fields being out though, Logan. Bagent did his job to do the best he can with a bad offensive system that was not set up to succeed. He was the game manager that coaching staff wanted him to be, but you still got to win games, and just on more than just Thursday nights, for fuck's sake.
Right, and I think the explosion of Justin Fields makes a difference on a bad defense. And
Definitely.
I would say that the Bears have continued to improve on defense, where the Vikings have been inconsistent. So I'll just take the more fun, the more electric Bears.
I appreciate that.
The Bears.
Any thoughts there, or should we just get on to building lineups?
I'm ready
I just
to go.
wanted to. Yeah, I just wanted to talk. My other pick would have been the Saints at -2, but I don't know. People
Hey,
were
you go ahead
talking.
and fill it, Buster. I got to set up a lineup anyways.
Yeah, just for a filler. I really
Someone
think the
just dropped a
Saints-
shit ton of money on Houston.
Did they?
Oh,
It just
Ooh.
flipped from like 30-70 to like 90-10 in the money.
This time period is a good
It
time.
was
for-
already kind of like favoring Houston in the money, but like it was 50-50 bets, 30-30 or 30-70 money. Now it's 30-70 bets, 90-10 money. A lot of bets just came in on Houston. Did I miss news?
I did not, but I know this is the time where a lot of professional gamblers will try to move the lines. So
Yeah,
maybe
this is Saturday night. They will look at lines here and see. I just had a bunch of updates, so it's like, oh wow. Oh wow.
So this line would move in your favor if.
Well, if
No.
you believe in the public and you believe in the sharp betters, then the line moved in my favor.
well, maybe you were
Believe
sharp.
in Vegas. Vegas, baby. Vegas wins if Jacksonville covers.
I was gonna say maybe you were sharp because you got it right away before the lines moved, but
Maybe I'm a sharp guy. Yeah, guys
just maybe.
spend a shit ton of money on their stuff, except they don't live in a state
So-
where they do that. Yeah.
One of my pillars this week, because a lot of people will say like, "Oh, what's your favorite game?" or like, "Tell me your favorite game environment." But then like we all know in DraftKings or just like lineup building, it's not just one play, right? It'd be easy to say, "Who do you think is going to score 30 points?" I'm sure we could all pick one guy if we didn't have to consider price or none of this other stuff mattered. We could probably pick one guy to score 30 points. So I challenged the guys before the show to pick their favorite 3 players that could be correlated. It could have a reason. It could just because they're your grandma's favorite 3 players. But to take those 3 players, put them in a lineup, and then see if we can tell the story from there. That way, we don't just look at it as like, oh, is Josh Allen worth the $8,200 price tag? Or, does Lamar Jackson deserve to be the top? And I'm using that as an example this week because he's not on the slate. Does Lamar Jackson deserve to be the top quarterback? It's not always about that. It's about what you put around them. So I challenge the guys tonight to put things around it and see what we can build from there. Because I do think week to week, we have some really good ideas. We have some really good cores. But then we kind of do these drafts and get away from the idea of telling a story as a unit. So that's what I really try to task the guys with, is not just tell a story, but do it in blocks. And that's how I think we should build this first lineup in a kind of a blocks setting. So what 3 players did you guys like? And I want to see how many blocks we can kind of fit in together and see if we make the puzzle pieces work.
So no price matter. We all just name 3 players.
Correct. Because if it doesn't work in one lineup, I'm going to try to fit it into another, whether we can all make it work in one lineup or not. I just want to see our 3 favorites and see if we can basically build around those guys.
What order do we want to go?
Yeah. Do we have a specific order? Does it not matter?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I'll just say mine since I have them. Mahomes, Kelsey, Gabe Davis.
Why?
Mahomes and Kelsey against a Raiders team when there are a lot of weapons on that Chiefs team that aren't healthy and have been inconsistent if they are.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes usually plays relatively well against that Raiders team. Raiders aren't getting any better. I think they kind of hit that point of where the new coach covering the spreads of,
Mhm.
it's plateau. Usually it doesn't last too long.
Yeah.
And that's just why. Gabe Davis, I kind of hit on it. I don't think that pass defense is very good. I know Diggs is there, but the home run guys for them is Gabe Davis. Like, if he goes off, he goes off. And this is
And that's
a
the whole
game
point. I'm glad you brought that up, Johnny, because that's the whole point of this. It's like we could all pick a home run guy. I could name you 3 cheap guys off the top of my head, but the way you did it, the way it fits with what you're trying to do with the whole slate is what we're after here. We're not just trying to like get the guy to have a flame emoji at the end of the game. We're trying to win some real money, and to do that, you have to correlate. Evan, what's your 3 favorite plays?
C.J. Stroud, Kyron Williams, Chris Olave.
That one's pretty obvious, but why don't you tell the people why that's kind of your thought process this week?
Yeah, so for a lineup idea, I wanted to quote-unquote diversify the portfolio, per se, to ensure that we get the best out of 3 particular games that I think are going to be good for scoring, and I think these 3 are it, and I wanted to grab the players that not too expensive, but also not too cheap either, that you can bank on to at least set up a pillar. And Chris Olave is probably my favorite of these 3 because Michael Thomas is gone, and Derek Carr is going to continue to lean on him heavily, and we know that Chris Olave's floor, at the very least, is going to be 8 targets, which was the case over the last 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be very severely underowned because I think if people play a guy from that game, they're going to go bottom of the barrel. They're going to go AJ or Perry. So I think paying up for the more efficient Olave, more talent, makes sense. So who was your favorite 3 blocks that you were going to try to build around this week?
Well, one was already taken.
Good.
So do I need to find a third, or can I just
No, that's what I was hoping that we would do. We'd have a lot of
have some
correlation.
overlap?
Right.
Henry, Kyron, Njoku.
Yep. Makes perfect sense.
I love
Njoku
Henry.
has been getting massive usage and targets and plays scripted for him since they've been on and off with their quarterback. Like, he had 15 targets in their last game.
Jeez, I didn't even know that.
And he's averaging 8 or 9 a game
Yeah.
against Denver, who's been
No.
one of the worst against tight ends all year. So and bottom 3 in the last 5. So let's go with some Njoku. And
No,
then
I
shouldn't have to explain why Derrick Henry is fucking Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he's playing the worst run defense in the league in your Carolina Panthers.
And if you look at his game log, he's had 3 games where he's had 20 carries. All of them
in
were
my personal.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in my personal, he and Saquon are my favorites for running back.
See, and I just can't get over Henry because in his game logs this year, he's had 3 games with 20 plus carries, and he's smashed in all those games. Those 3 games were all home games. Those 3 games were all the 3 home games they played in the country because they had a technical home game that was the London game against Baltimore.
Which is already a tough run defense in the first place.
Exactly.
How much
So
of
at home against one of the worst run defenses in the league, if not the worst run defense in the league, I will take Henry all day.
how much of this Derrick Henry decline, if that's what we're gonna call it, is just him not getting the ball? Because I think that's most of it.
I think it's situational. Like I said, on the road in situations you don't need him, you don't just feed Henry the ball. But at home in Tennessee or when you get to the playoffs, you might be giving 20 carry Derrick Henry. But that's the reason why they want to make sure he's healthy to be able to make that run.
It doesn't matter
Which
if
is
you
why
can't make
Tajay
playoffs.
Spears is getting all these extra snaps.
Danny's question actually was was similar to what I had in my mind, in which I was going to try and play the devil's advocate with the whiny consensus that you tend to see in the fantasy football community. But Derrick Henry is washed. He's not getting 20 points per game consistently anymore. He's washed up. I can't play him now. Look at the last 2 games.
That's fine. That seems to be the consensus from the industry. They are not playing him. He is no owned. I will play him. I will spend. I will take the money.
Well,
I have money. Give me money.
that's exactly it, though, Gov. It's like maybe that's right though. When he's 8,500, or he's like the highest,
Since we're building the lineup, Evan and Donnie, who don't really look at ownership projections and don't know, tell me right now, who would you rather have? Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor?
Oh, Henry.
Derrick Henry, yeah. This week, Derrick Henry.
This week, specifically. Yes.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor has clearly stated he no longer wants to play for the Colts. He's not putting in 100% effort out there. Give me Derrick Henry.
Even when they gave him like 90% of the touches the last week they played?
He averaged 3 yards per carry against the Patriots.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying that he didn't do that.
got,
I'm
like,
saying they did
just say
give him
this.
all the work. Like, they did not use Zach Moss. They gave Taylor all of the work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about the Derrick Henry decline one more time. If you want to talk about his decline, after 2020, he started to decline. He went from 5.4 yards to carry to 4.3, and he's at 4.2 3 years later.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
He's an absolute bot. Worst ever, worst Marley, worst running back. Can't do it.
The point is, like, he's still been very good. He's the same running back he was last year.
He's
Donnie,
just Henry. If you give him 25 touches in the right situation, just like last year, he'll fucking kill you. And I'm not going to get killed by Derrick Henry. I'm going to pay Derrick Henry. I'm going to win money with Derrick Henry. I like money. Give me money.
That's exactly it, Gov, too. And it's not like Christian McCaffrey's on the slate, or Derrick Henry is like 8,000, or he's this high price, how do we jam him in player. He is the lowest he's ever been. He was lower he's lower than Bijan Robinson was when we thought Bijan Robinson a couple weeks ago was way underpriced. He's only 6,400. And I know Donnie's a fan of this. You always like to play Miami in warm weather when their hamstrings are feeling good because of their speed. It's also a good time to play Derrick Henry in the cold when the weather starts to turn, when teams don't want to tackle as much. Like, that kind of stuff matters. We can joke about all we want, but it is harder to tackle people.
It is not quite D-Hember. That is a thing. You like, I wish it were D-Hember when this game was going on, but it will not quite be D-Hember.
But I'm saying it's warming up, and if we're going to get him at that price, I think it's worthy. That's why I think this lineup structure made sense. I just want to run through really quickly to give you my 3, and then we can build. I think we can just plug in some plays already, because once you see my 3, they're going to correlate with a lot of stuff you guys like. I like Greg Dortch. Obviously, it seems that Brown might also miss this game, but Wilson's out. Greg Dortch, in the last game, when Greg Dortch sees at least 3 targets in a game, he basically averages 75 yards per game. Last year, I believe he caught 5 passes for like 86 yards. He caught 8 passes for like 75 yards at some point last year. So the games have been sporadic, but when he's on the field, he produces. So I like Greg Dortch at that price. I think he has the highest upside. Even if Brown does play, that means Brown plays on the outside. Greg Dortch goes on the inside. I think Greg Dortch is a good play with Wilson out. And Kyler trusts him. So, like, we're just seeing Kyler come back. I think it correlates really well with us playing Kyron Williams too. But I also like Kupp. So as long as we got Kupp in some lineup, and then Watson being the other cheap guy. Watson, I believe, he saw 11 targets last week, but I want to say in 2 weeks he's seen something like 22 targets. I want to make sure that's correct. So not quite that much. He saw 16 in the last 2 weeks. So this isn't just a flash in the pan, because I don't want people to do that like, well, you're just game watching or box score watching one game. It's not just one game. Mahomes does trust this guy. You know,
So, speaking of that, not just one game point, I'm surprised to see Cooper Cup is still at $8,000 on DK. What that tells me is that there are a lot more people on DK that do their research about talent, with what wide receivers bring to the table, compared to the rest of the fantasy consensus that might not be into DFS, just because Cooper Cup has not broken 10 points in PPR formats over his last 4 games. And I would think that's going to scare a lot of people into either not playing him in DFS or just benching him in vanilla redraft leagues.
yes. And the reason I like it though, Evan, is because Kyron's back, which a lot of people might not correlate. But here's why I like it, because it's going to open up the middle of the field. Because actually, Puka runs a lot of deep routes for them. So if he runs deep, you got Kyron in the middle. Stafford already likes to throw to running backs, so that's going to open up the middle. So it's either going to be Kyron or Cooper in the middle, and then you got, like, I just like that this offense is getting healthier. I want pieces of this offense. I think it's underpriced. I want to make sure we get it. It sounds like we like this game environment. I know Donnie liked the Chiefs game, so I think these are some good pillars we can build around, and we can get them in the lineup together. So do you guys want to try to do this with as many lineups as possible? Just try to fit our guys in and see where we can go from there?
Let's do it.
like right now, let's put in Hember and Kyron.
I
don't mind playing like a full game stack, like Kyron, Cup, Dortch as a little mini stack of that game.
We don't even got to play
Cup
Cooper
and
Cup.
Kyron could be like the entirety of the offense.
I don't want to
Dortch
play
could be
Cup
cheap.
this week, but
I would say we'd either play Kyron or Cup. And maybe we'll play Cup in the
I'd be fine. Again, I'm fine playing both. Like, I think there's a decent total on that game. There's going to be points scored. It's entirely possible that if Cup has a bounce back game and Kyron coming back has a big game, all of the points just go through them. The last time they played Arizona, it was Cup with 30 and Kyron with 25. Stafford didn't get barely to 15. It was all just Cup. Puka didn't have a great game. Like, no one else did much of anything. It was just all Cup and Kyron. It could totally just be that. And then you just take Dortch on the other side because he's cheap and
he's cheap.
has a good bring back.
I like him. Fits my core. You guys all like Williams. I think we agree on that. Evan, where do you fall? Do you want to fit Cup in this lineup, or do you want to save him for our next lineup?
I'm indifferent either way, just because we were already starting with cheap guys, but I have to agree with the fact that if it's got to be a Ram, it's got to be either Kyron or Cup, but not both.
Okay, and then we're getting rid of Watson for sure, right? Or did you want to
I'll say I'm listening to there's like 12 guys in my head because 11 guys in my head because we all listen to different guys. And none of us listed a defense.
That's correct.
I see a lineup that's totally buildable with our 11 guys.
I do too. I just want to make sure we're good for it.
And like we don't have to get rid of Cup. We can play both Cup and Kyron.
Did we get Gabe Davis in here?
How much is Gabe Davis this week, speaking of him?
5,300.
Yeah.
5,300. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think we can get Gabe Davis in your lineup.
Like, put Henry in.
Yeah, Derrick Henry too.
We definitely want a Henry. I think we're going to all agree on that.
Yeah.
And Henry makes it a good one-off because we got so much correlation in this lineup already.
Now, what if I said just jam in Mahomes and Kelsey right now?
I would love to.
Okay.
Let me see what the salary looks like. Make sure I did the math in my head right.
The difference, though, Gov, would you now, because I don't think ownership matters, would you prefer Mahomes or Allen? Because I think both of them make sense in this lineup because we got Gabe Davis.
Because of who we all chose, let's go Mahomes.
Okay. I'm okay with either. That's what I'm saying.
Like, Allen's fine. We might switch them if we need the 100, but let's do Mahomes and then let's put in Kelsey.
Because Kincaid is interesting too, but I do like Kelsey.
Yeah, that's 49K to finish out. That's very doable.
And like for a defense and a flex, even if you did the min-price defense.
Yeah, that's
Which
all
is not even a bad defense.
Ironically, I like the Texans' defense this week.
And
I like them too.
Collins on the other end if you did that, but let's wait. Is there any player that we have mentioned we could get? Let's take out the who have we mentioned that isn't in here? player wise.
You know who? I don't know if we can.
Let's
Can we
see.
get to Chris Olave? I think we
No,
can.
no, can't.
Olave's $200 too expensive.
Okay. Donnie, didn't you want a Raider on the comeback? Who was it?
I said any Raider.
We could
Which
afford
makes
Josh
sense.
Jacobs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, we can't. Sorry.
And I
300.
thought we could. We
Okay,
could probably
so
afford Myers.
let's see.
I don't know if I want to play Jacoby Myers anymore.
I'm just thinking about throwing up, guys. Is there a
Colin-
name that one of you guys said that we haven't?
Probably makes some sense here, but that'd be a one-off.
Well, you're playing the defense too, but we don't need to correlate. We really don't.
We don't. I like Sutton personally.
Not against the Browns defense.
Or what about just playing the double tight end and go with David Njoku?
Like I'm looking at that right now. That would leave us 2,300 to
I like
add
that.
to
We
like
could get one of the
George
best in the league.
or Watson,
Or we could
Like-
do that.
Like honestly, guys, like take
and,
this.
and not all of it, because then we can get off the Texans defense if we wanted to.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing: if we played Mahomes, why not just play Watson with him? Watson, Kelsey, Mahomes.
Right. So like
Why
really,
not?
the guy we probably get off of is Dortch.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
get
you
off
go
the
Kelsey and Joku, and then you get off of Dortch. We could play.
Sutton, Judy, Downs. I like
I'd be okay with Sutton even against a tough Cleveland secondary.
It would be correlation. That's why. I meant
We could play Deontay under a new coordinator.
I don't hate Josh Downs.
it is
I-
true.
I don't even hate Deontay, despite the scuffle he had in the
I don't-
locker room.
I don't hate George
It is
Pickens. I
true,
would
the-
play Pickens this week with a new coordinator.
So they
Yes.
changed coordinators, but here's the thing: they switched to their running backs. Coach is now going to be calling the offense. So the suggestion is they're going to use Warren a lot more, and they're going to use play action. That to me means that we're going to see some difference.
Yes.
So I would take a chance on one of the cheap wide receivers, or we could play Pat Fryingbooth, which we don't need because we're playing David. So it would make sense to play one of the wide receivers if we wanted to.
Yeah, I'm fine with either Deontay or Pickens because they're both going to get fed by Pickett.
Do you have a preference, Gov?
I
I
think my
just go
preference.
talent by.
I think
I
Sutton,
think
man,
my
is a big bet.
preference is Pickens. Like in this range, like the guy I am playing the most of would be Josh Downs. But if we're
I'm fine
picking
with
a
Josh
Pittsburgh, if we're picking a Pittsburgh guy, I'd go Pickens. I'm not really seeing Sutton.
No,
I'm
Sutton.
not seeing that at all.
I mean, truthfully, to keep the correlation, we would just plug in Marquise Brown, and then if he's ruled out, Move.
Hold on.
move to like one of the afternoon guys. Like, well, at that point you'd
I
have to
think
go
he's
to Judy.
doubtful though.
At that point, you'd have to go to Judy. Is he doubtful? Doubtful, yeah. Heel didn't practice Friday.
Yeah, he didn't
Listed
practice.
questionable.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play him then.
It's sad because he does have some good synergy with Murray too.
It's been a bit rough since Murray came back, but you're still right. I expect them to get it back.
But yeah,
Well-
I could just do Downs, and then we'd still have some money to go up on our defense.
I kind of like
Right.
Downs as a one-off
Or,
too.
or
'cause
even if you got like you guys choose between Downs and Pickens. You have
I
three-
don't. It's a coin flip. It's a coin flip.
Well-
here's what I want you to break, Evan, for me, because here it is for me. I think Pickens has the higher upside, but he has the more likely to get us a 0 or like a 3-5 point game. I think
I don't-
Downs is a guarantee for like 6 or 7, but he's probably not going to get you 30 or 20 or 25.
Right.
Yeah, I think I would go the opposite if we're comparing Josh Downs to George Pickens. Downs has had knee issues going into the bye, and I think he's expected to be fully recovered by the Week 12 Buccaneer game. But the Colts have been struggling a lot lately too. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They're not really struggling at throwing the football, but I would still go Pickens over Downs.
I do trust Kenny more than I trust
Minshew?
Minshew.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
You're not a fan of Uncle Rico?
All right, so where do we upgrade defense? We never had a thing. We just plugged in the lowest price one.
Yes.
All right, so we can't play like the top 3, but we basically have any other defense to play. I know
I
the
like the
chalk
Patriots.
was the Chiefs or the Patriots.
No, I was thinking Patriots defense is about to get chomped on by Saquon, but
Yeah, but they're also playing that New Jersey kid.
Tommy DeVito, so was his mom, blah, blah, blah. A lot of interceptions probably, maybe. I don't know.
I think I know what I'm gonna do with this guy.
It
Cincinnati.
I'm not playing Cincinnati.
No.
wouldn't make sense that we got Pickens.
I
We
was
could
trying to
just
do a
play the
bad Bill
defense
Belichick
and
impression. I didn't
correlate.
actually mean to play Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we could do
Cincinnati.
the poor Titans defense with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I don't hate that one. No.
Let's do that. It correlates. By the way, as we loaded the next lineup here because we already have a good baseline with this. I really like David Njoku. He's really put up crazy amount of targets, and I think he's getting slept on this week. Really, I do. Of course, that was the line we just built. No, it was not. I just like David Njoku so much I got confused. All right, here we go.
Just another lineup with Henry and Njoku. It's fine.
It could be because I think we liked him.
I
What
like him a lot too. I have lineups that look
we
like
didn't get Evans, Chris Olave in here, so let's get Chris Olave in here.
Yeah.
Because he's a bit expensive guy, so not too
Yeah.
crazy, but like.
At 6,600 for what he brings, is he all that expensive?
No, but I'm saying like he's not easy. He's not an easy plug-in guy. So like before we start to really plug in guys, let's make sure we don't forget your guy here.
Because I was thinking at 6,600 would be a bargain for a guy like Olave.
We didn't play Greg Dortch in the last line. Who else am I missing that you guys wanted to play for sure?
Stroud.
Yeah,
I
gotta
think
get Stroud in there.
CJ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if we play Stroud, can we at least get off the chalk a bit though and play Collins?
That's what I would do.
If I'm
That's
playing
exactly-
Stroud, I want to double him.
You want to double
So
it?
either play Nico 2 or Schultz.
I'm fine with
And
playing
I would prefer just going Nico and Collins.
Nico and
Or I'm
Collins.
sorry. Shut up. Shut up.
I like
I
Dell.
will put you in another cage match, boy.
There it is. See, I told you we were working to that WWE promo.
Okay.
So
But no, I would like Tank and Nico.
I like that as well because I want to play Pat Fryinbooth at basically like a minimum person. He's a tight end that I think he can easily get 10 points, and I think it's underpriced. And I think we'd be mistaken not to at least consider him.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we got off of Dortch. I was just about to question the Dortch one, but I forgot we got off of him in the first lineup, so now it
we
makes
got off
sense.
him in the first one.
Yeah.
I'm saying that like I'll open it back up if we can play Pat Fryinbooth because I think he's too cheap for this slate, and it gives us some money to play guys like Derrick Henry. Anything else you guys want to do in this lineup? Now that we've kind of got our baseline core here.
I mean, the Freiermuth suggestion I'm kind of iffy on because, I mean, he wasn't really having a great season under Matt Canada's offense before he got hurt, but
He's gone now.
And yeah, that's the thing. He's gone, and we know that Freiermuth is a good pass catcher, but I don't know.
Evan, or sorry, not Evan. Gov, see if you can soothe Evan a bit. So just so I'm not biased, because I'm the one who recommended him. At 2,900, what does Pat Fryinbooth have to put up for you to feel like that was a good one?
It's not even a number. It's like, can he be a top 5 scoring tight end and don't count Kelsey? Like, that's basically what it is. Of
enough.
the other guys, of all of your Ingrams, your Kincaids, your McBrides, your Taysom Hills, all of those, can he still be in the top 5 in fantasy scoring? Like,
See,
I'm
I
not
would
counting
think-
Kelsey, but like of the actual like tight end guys, if he can be in the top 5, which is possible from what I remember last year, but he hasn't shown it this year in the offense.
He's
But
also
that
been
was
hurt.
also Matt Canada, and this is not the Matt Canada offense. If they go back to what they were doing last year and we get 7 target a game Freiermuth, then he could end up being like a top 5 scoring tight end on the week. Tight end is not a super high scoring position. Like Dalton Kincaid, Ingram, they're pretty consistent guys getting you like 11 or 12 a week. So if like Freiermuth gets you, I guess if you want me to put a number on it, if Freiermuth gets me 18, I'll be happy.
Mhm.
If he gets me 10, he pays off value, but I'm not happy about it.
I agree.
But like 15 plus, I'd be happy with him. 18 would be a goal. If he hits 20, like what the fuck? Is he Kelsey?
Yeah. Donnie, do you have any better ideas to do with this? I just think that Pat Prime would open this up to almost anything else we want to do in the lineup.
I like trying different pieces of the Steelers offense this week.
Yeah, and we already did Pickens, so I guess it's a matter of do we want to stick with Freiermuth or do we want to go back to Deontay? Well, actually, we can't go Deontay now. Haha.
We can't. That's what I'm saying. If we wanted to do that, we play. Let's just put him in and see what else we got. Do we really want to go Henry in both lineups? I'm okay with going Henry. I'm saying
I'm already playing all Henry. I'm 100%ing him. I don't know if I want to do it again. Like
I
that's,
want to, but I don't want to force you guys to do it.
Henry.
Okay.
I know Bill wants to.
Henry.
Evan, you got.
Why is no one chanting with me? Chant with me. Henry.
Not December yet. But is Evan on board? Do you see any way Henry doesn't get there at 6,400 against this bad Panthers defense?
I don't doubt Derrick Henry even when the times are tough.
Fair
So
enough, we're playing him.
when Derrick Henry goes off on Sunday, people, get your O. Henry candy bars ready in celebration, because that's what I'll be feasting on.
Donnie, do you remember in week 14 we're gonna be talking about best ball, but just in case people forgot, we do have him in best ball. But don't tell God I told you just so I don't get yelled at. But I mean, I like Henry this week. I really do. Good play.
I'm tempted to just suggest Kyron and Derrick Henry for all the lineups, but we can't go Kyron at this point because he's too expensive.
We can't now. We.
So
Maybe this is another play of a guy you like this week, which is Ford. It'd be a nice cheap play. The other one is to maybe go to get off Freinbooth and go to Hudson from. I don't always call him Hudson. I'm talking about the tight end from Cincinnati. Yeah, Tanner Hudson.
Oh. I have a question, speaking of the Steelers game. What does this mean for their running backs at this point? Because they had to lean heavily on Najee Harris and Jalen Warren over these last few games before they gave Matt Canada the old heave-ho. So what does that mean for the run game?
I mean, we are playing Pat Freiermuth, right?
Yes.
I'm saying we could get off of him and play like a Warren because we got to save some money.
No, we don't.
You're right. If we play Pat,
If I play the most expensive, like just put in Freiermuth with what we needed left was a running back and a defense. Like you just do the math. Even if you play the most expensive defense, you still have like $6,000 left.
No, you're right. Because I thought we had another skill position, but you're right. That other position is the defense. Let's through my average off. You're right.
Yeah. You were looking at 4,900 per.
Right, yeah.
We need like a 5,000 to 5,500 running back, and then
I was thinking we had to go two.
It's like no, we're gonna play like a 3K defense. You're gonna have like you're gonna play like DeAndre Swift or something. Or guess who else we can play? Hey, there's a name of a guy we can play, and we all want to play Kyron.
Yeah, I like him.
I don't
Literally
exactly
just plug in Kyron and then pick a defense.
I'm not against playing Kyron. I just, I'm not as high as him on him as you guys are.
What about
Well, okay,
What?
Bijan Robinson?
you could just
No.
Not against the Saints. Not
You
against
want
the
to?
Saints.
Do you want to leverage off our other lineup? You want leverage? Just everyone
Sure.
loves leverage, right?
I do love
Leverage it. Pacheco.
Leverage is my favorite. There you go. There it
Hmm.
is. There it is.
Play Pacheco. The other lineup is a Mahomes stack. If
McKinnon's
Mahomes
out.
goes the fuck off, that lineup goes the fuck off.
It
If
is
they just
true.
run the shit over Las Vegas, it's Pacheco.
Guys,
Johnny-
can I make a confession?
Say what, sir?
I'm playing double tight ends in 2 lineups.
Is Kelsey
Uh,
one of them?
Kelsey's one of them in one of the 2.
He's not
But
really.
The other double tight end lineup does not include Kelsey.
No.
Is it David Njoku and Kincaid? Because that's what it should be.
I was about to say it better have fucking Kincaid in that.
It's Ninjoku and Firemouth for money reasons. But I am getting an Allen
You
Diggs.
know who does things for money reasons? Whores.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
Gov,
Burn,
yeah,
burn,
Gov's been
burn,
throwing
burn.
punches.
Yeah, I got energy this week. I did not feel into it last week. I don't know if it was the coming holiday. I do not know, but I got energy this Saturday night.
You do.
I'm on. I'm with you guys. We are ready to build. Okay, so 3,600. We're same range. I don't mind playing the chalk Chiefs defense just to correlate.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs defense. What about you, Evan? What do you like here?
Out of all the defenses, I'd be fine with the Chiefs defense because they seem to still be underrated and they're damn good.
Yeah, they're good.
Then that would leave us with 500, which is the magic number where I would say, do you want to do something with it, or we leave 500 on the table?
I think we leave it.
I think it's at least worth looking before we leave it, right?
Like-
Let's
like,
double
so,
check.
like- A 38 wide receiver if we got off Dortch again, or a
get off-
$3,600 or a $3,400. Like we could do Jonu Smith from the Falcons.
No, not against New Orleans. I
That's
don't like it.
but it would correlate with Olave. New Orleans has not been great to tight ends over the last few weeks. Like normally you don't attack them, but last few weeks they're one of the bottom 5 teams.
I have a.
Arthur Smith is not gonna give it to fucking Kyle Pitts. He's gonna run a fucking jet sweep with Jonu Smith on the goddamn goal line.
I don't like Jonas Smith.
I think I'd rather Cade Otton than.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to get off of Freiermuth for this one, but could I make a case for moving up from Greg Dortch to Rashid Shaheed?
No.
Not with
You don't want to play him?
Hold on,
Not with
hold on,
Olave
hold
in the lineup,
Hold
too.
on.
Not with Olave.
Timeout. We could get off Dortch, put him at, put Collins at receiver and get another flex at 38.
It would still be the same wide receivers.
It'd be the same wide receiver.
Oh,
You
yeah,
look at 38
you're
real
right.
quick.
You're right.
Unless you want to play Wandale at 38.
And if you wanted a different cheap wide receiver play, I would again, I would probably want to
Watson.
because like right now Dortch
No.
would be the high projected guy. So at
I'm
that
just saying,
point,
for
I
some
would just
reason, I'm
want
getting a lot of- yeah,
I would
I'm
want
getting a lot of-
correlation or I would want like ceiling. So
I
like
think
if
we've
we
got the
switched
lineup
off
here.
Dortch, I would go to either Mingo to correlate with Henry,
Yeah.
or I would play Shakir and
Fair
shoot
enough.
for a dart throw from that Buffalo game against Philly.
Yeah,
At that point, I think I'd rather stick with Dortch.
yeah,
I'm fine
weirdly-
leaving the 500 on the table and Dorching it.
I'm fine with that too. I think that's our best move. I want to mention though, the reason we're so high on Pacheco isn't just because he's been the starting running back. They are without McKinnon, and they've obviously proven that Edwards-Helaire is not the guy. Like this guy has seen 2 targets or 2 carries. Like he might see a little bit more work, but I expect a lot of Pacheco. And people will say, well, they pass a lot in the red zone, or like they don't run the ball. Well, they also pass a lot to Pacheco. So even if they're in the red zone, Pacheco could still get targeted.
Yeah, and Andy Reid has not been shy about having a running back by committee in his time at the Chiefs, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even with
They-
other healthy running backs, he's not even seeing more than 10% of the field anymore. His career is pretty much over.
He might want to have a. What's that? Go ahead.
His career's over in Kansas City, I would say. But
Well, that's
I
what I'm
don't know.
saying.
I wouldn't call it over in general, but
Nah, I can't say never to him,
I
yeah.
think a second chance.
Now we are at the hour and 30-minute mark. So if you guys want to call that good, we did build 2 lineups. We used a lot of our core plays, a lot of our blocks. Or did you guys
I
want
don't have I don't have any plays I'm definitive on anymore. I just want to say that. Like I had a very short, narrow list personally.
I have a stupid fun idea we could do for a pillar. Picking players that we like that are not recommended plays like a Wan'Dale Robinson.
I don't want to do that, to be honest. There's a reason why you don't want to play certain players. Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna be able to fill a roster because it's all cheap. Anyway, but
Well, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Logan.
No, here's what I'll do for you though on the way out. And then why don't you give the people a couple of your plays that you like that no one's talking about that you think are good plays that everyone else thinks might be ugly ducklings. So that way you can help people go.
I was about to say, like, other than Logan and me, neither of you guys really gave like a sub $4,500 kind of play.
Right.
What's your favorite?
sub 4,500.
Yep.
I like taking a dart throw on any of the Chiefs receivers that are like consistently on the field.
So Watson,
And-
Sky Moore.
Yeah, and
I-
I also like Demario, but you know.
You took the words out of my mouth, Donnie. I was just about to ask you about that. Like, how could you not like your Demario Douglas?
Oh, I
But you
love
do.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Demario Douglas and Rashid Shaheed at their prices. That may be just a wide receiver centric, but I don't like cheap running backs in DFS. I just feel like you have to pay up to get a safe floor.
Yeah, if you wanted to get crazy this week, and you could convince me maybe to try and sneak in a Kareem Hunt, but that's it.
Yeah, I would do like a Kareem Hunt, like a last minute flex, but not as like a first resort type of thing.
See, I'm with Gov here. I know he likes him too. I like Ford a lot. I think
I'm
Hunt's
playing K-Dot, though.
See, Ford and Hunt both look solid to me against Denver. Warren against Cincinnati looks fine. There are a few like cheaper running backs, and like I actually have the opposite thought. Like in daily fantasy, because outside of your outliers like McCaffrey and sometimes Kamara, most of the time the ceiling at running back is not nearly as high as it can be at wide receiver. So I'd rather spend less money on my running backs and hope to get a slight ceiling game or at least a solid game from 2 low-price running backs and then pay up for the receivers that could actually go for 30 plus. Because, like, unless you're McCaffrey, sometimes the best running back game is only like 22 points. So why not take 2 low-priced guys who get me 18 each?
So are we talking like below 5,900? We're talking like a Jerome
like
Ford.
Like below Ramondre.
That's fair. Yeah, I can see
guys
lineups where you play
running
Ford
back-
and Warren.
Yeah, seeing Ford, Warren. There's a few guys there. I could see getting to Hunt. He actually gets like 11, 12 carries a game.
Yeah, but at 4,800, it's like he's the cheapest guy who I'd play at running back.
So who's the wide receiver then, Gov, you would jam in? Who's the guy like you're guaranteed to get 30 points, or at least that's the expectation from this
AJ.
slate.
Probably just fucking AJ. Because if Buffalo tries to push it all and can do anything against that Philly defense, AJ is going to be the guy that Hurts has to throw to.
I have most of the Buffalo offense this league covered. Just not the running back and tight end room. But
See, I think Kincaid is a very solid choice too. Like if you wanted to do a mini with Brown and Kincaid, like Swift, Kincaid,
expen-
like that would work. It's
yeah.
expensive. Like he's an expensive tight end. And that's why, like, him and Kelsey are the only two I would consider putting in the flex and then playing another tight end. See, if you put in the Texans defense, this is totally doable.
You can make it work.
Like, I don't know who you stack. Would you rather stack? Let's stack Allen, right?
That's what I was going to say, Alan.
Let's just stack Josh.
I've just been listening to you guys and building this lineup.
If we stack Josh, then we can play Gabe Davis with him.
Because we got Kincaid right now.
Yeah, just double him with Kincaid and Davis. Put Davis in the flex.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That works.
And then, yeah, he's only 53. I forgot. It's not 63. Like, oh, we actually have a lot of, like, 60. Not, oh, my God. Oh, Evan, you wanted to pay up for running back. Who do you want?
who would you want here, Evan?
I can't get you Kamara.
Henry?
Yeah. Like, I would be, like, playing Jonathan Taylor this week, I'd be fine with that. Not just because he's 6,900, baby. But Swift is still a good play. Kyron's a damn good play. I would even be fine with Bijan against a failing Saints defense. And Derrick Henry, that value.
I like the late game hammer of either going like Swift or Kyron. So
I would rather.
as much as I love Henry, I'd like to get a late game hammer in this too.
I
know it's a late game hammer stack, but still.
Well, we already have AJ Brown, so no Swift. Not that they both can.
I would say Kyron.
So we
or
Kyron it up.
Taylor.
Yeah, I think Kyron's going to be safer. He's just more explosive than... Well, Jonathan Taylor is explosive. He's just not trying. So, yeah, Kyron.
Let's get the other defenses. And
Yep. Okay. Falcons versus New Orleans.
I'd be as bold to say Raiders defense.
I actually kind of like correlate, since we don't have a Dortch or anything in this lineup. Do the Rams versus Arizona.
Fine with that.
that's good.
I kind of like the Texans defense, but...
Like, I don't hate the Texans either and leaving the 300.
I don't hate the Texans defense, but,
Yeah, I think we'll eat the chalk. I like this lineup, though. We didn't even want to build it. I just figured out, let the boys talk and see what we can come up with. I like this three lineup. So. All right, guys, I think that's enough for tonight. I thought we were very efficient. We did go an hour and 37 minutes, but we were really efficient. Is there anything else you guys want to say? Happy Thanksgiving to the people. Hopefully you enjoyed. You can see, like, we didn't win any money. We'll talk about that on our next podcast, which will review these lineups and the Thanksgiving lineup. But it was a lot of fun. We made up with some prop bets. We were able to, make up with that with the Black Friday experiment, so we can hit on that as well. I always say diversify your portfolio. Find your edges and then find different contests, different ways to exploit what you enjoy of football. So whether that's showdown, whether that, whatever it is, just enjoy it, but bet responsibly within your means, and nothing can really go wrong at that point. I think that's a very underrated part of gambling that goes overlooked, is if we do it responsibly, it's just a fun activity just like anything else, whether it be eating out, going to the movies, enjoying time with friends. So just make sure it's done responsibly and everyone can have a good time. With that being said, good night, guys, unless you guys have anything else.
No, good night, everyone. Continue the tank for Drake May.
Keep the faith, everybody. Go Bears.
Peace out, everyone.